Welcome. We are here. Very special podcast today with the man, the myth, Matty Ice, Matt Staples. Matt, how's it going?
What's up, Jeff? Thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, it's great to do an official podcast. We've had a lot of deep talks and conversations over the years, and really exciting to see you get to the level you're at and where you've come and how much work you've put in. I do remember from a Run It Up Reno. Must have been the last one, was it? Was maybe a while ago? I don't know.
I think two ago.
Okay, 2 Run It Up Renos ago, we had to sit down. We were on a couch, and you really just sort of laid it out. We're not signed yet by a site. It was obvious the big sites were looking at you, and you were just basically saying, look, I'm going to move home. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to stream a lot. You had a plan. You've delivered. Now you have over 65,000 on Twitch. You've got a very strong deal with Party Poker, one of the main brand ambassadors. Talk to me a little bit about the last year and what's been going on with you, and then we'll kind of go backtrack into the early stages. But I want to know what changed for you in the last year and what's new with you in the last 12 months.
Well, yeah, like I said, we had that talk. I was super ready to get serious with Twitch. I felt like I had never really given Twitch like a serious go, where I actually just, because I was living with Jamie, my brother, and we did so much traveling, and we were moving country to country, and my schedule was all over the place. I wasn't being super consistent. And if you're on Twitch, consistency is so key. So I was just like, listen, I'm going to go home, no more trolling, and just stream as much as I can. And that's what I did. And I saw pretty insane gains this year in both Twitch and my poker game. And obviously, finally a poker site. I had been streaming unsigned on Twitch, and I was the biggest unsigned streamer on Twitch for a long time. And finally Party was, got something done, and we got teamed up. So yeah, that's what happened. And I haven't really changed my plans since. I've just been doing the same thing, just streaming a ton. So
what is the current stream plan right now? Do you have a set, every week? Is it the same thing? Do you kind of go by different series? Obviously there's a KO series right now. There's different points where it gets kind of, there's a lot of there's a lot of different things that change along with poker, what's happening. But for you personally, is it something that you try to do a set amount of time per week? Can people find you certain days, or does it really vary?
Yeah, no, as much as possible, essentially. I've done no trips or live trips or anything, so I'm not really breaking up the content. I just try to get at least 5 days in a week and stream as long as I can, whether there's a series going on or not. My off days vary a little bit. I might do 6 days in a row, then take a day off, then do another day, then a day off. It's not the same off days every week, but yeah, every week for the last year has just been grind.
And what is, if you were giving someone recommendations, because again, you were one of the top streamers for the last year or so without being signed. And is that something that, do you feel that's an obtainable goal? Obviously it was dominated by Poker Stars, where it was only really stars, Tonka at 888, and then really Party Poker, who is the second largest site, very strong brand, didn't have a Twitch presence. Did you ever kind of wonder, am I going to get a deal, or was that inevitable? Did you know you were definitely getting a deal? At what point did you sort of realize that you were going to be considered and you were going to be offered something? Was that always in the back of your head? When you saw your brother get it from the start, was that kind of your goal, or was it just sort of to stream, put your head down and see what happens?
Yeah, definitely the latter. I never really thought about getting signed. I mean, until not never, after I'd streamed for a few years and my numbers were, I was getting the same numbers as people that were already signed or more. Right. So I was kind of wondering okay, well, I feel like I have the same value or more value than some of these guys. I know Twitch numbers aren't everything when it comes to getting signed, right? It's personality and brand awareness and all these other things that might go along with it. But I felt okay, I feel like this could happen. And, there was talks going on. So I felt like something was coming. But yeah, in the early days, I was never thinking about, I never was thinking about taking poker or Twitch super serious. It was always something that I was doing for fun. So I didn't think much about, getting signed.
For sure. I see L514 in the chat. Ghost of M, Mark Millard. What's up? Some legends in there. Cram Drallin and Weighin, of course. So if you guys have questions, you can ask on Twitter. You are eligible for a retweet giveaway today. But also, if you want to chat here, we can take a look. But we're going to try to just keep it flow and steady until the end. And we will try to take a lot. There are a lot of questions for Ice. A lot of diehard Matty Ice fans out there. Can we get a little credit for the nickname? I love the nick Matty Ice. I mean, come on.
Matty Ice stuck so hard. It stuck so hard.
It's really, it is a great name. That was one of my greatest memories. I think that was a turning point for myself, along with the boys like Kevin, me, you, and Jamie having the stream house, the 24-hour. I mean, that was, for me, that was sort of like a make or break. Like that got me really engaged in Twitch. Like, how was that? How those type of stream boat, stream house? How have you enjoyed projects like that? Do you like that sort of stuff, or do you rather do your own thing?
No, well, you definitely need a mix. Like that sort of stuff. It does feel a little bit like gimmicky. Like it's. I'm glad it's not like that all the time. Let's just put it that way. It's just not a sustainable way to stream. But like, mixing that in a few times a year is so fun. And like, I really wish my stream was where it is now when that stuff was going on. Because back then, I was playing the micro stakes or the low stakes, and I wasn't very good, and my stream wasn't very big. And while that stuff was going on, like Streamboat and Montreal. So I would love I'd love to be where I'm at now and do that kind of stuff. I think it'd be even better, be able to hype it up a lot more with my own channel. But yeah, that stuff was so fun.
And there's so many things to talk about with your brother. I mean, the bet, we'll get into all that, but give us a little bit of background on you before the streamer and how, like, talk to me about when your brother first got on Twitch. Was this something he shared with you beforehand? Were you guys talking a lot and he was like, hey, I'm going to give this a try? Or did you just, at what point did you pick it up on the radar that he was doing this and something was happening here?
Jamie, he was living at home. We were both living at home. I was in, I guess, first year university. We didn't talk very much, Jamie and I. Like, we didn't discuss things. He kind of, he played poker full time. I never talked to him about poker ever. Like, that was just like his own thing. That was his own life. So when he started streaming on Twitch, like, I think he brought it up to Chris and I, my brother Chris. But he just started doing it. I really wasn't even a part of it at all. And, I was a huge Twitch fan. Like, I played video games religiously. I watched Twitch. I watched like big games like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, stuff like that. So I was a huge fan of Twitch, and I had actually tried to stream like League of Legends once in the past or something.
Really?
I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make it. Yeah, I had a channel. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So you might have actually had it before Jamie. You might have streamed before him technically.
Oh, I did, but I mean, does it count? I streamed like 35 minutes on League of Legends. I don't know. But
was it your same name then?
No, it was a different account, some different name. Yeah.
Wow, interesting to know that. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I didn't hear about Twitch or know about it until I saw Somerville and I caught a little glimpse of it all. But that's very interesting. So how did it go then? Was Jamie hit a score on Twitch? Like, he must have started out just like we all did. No one really on, no one has a clue, and then all of a sudden got a little traction. Was it him who told you or stumbled on it, or was he like, hey, this is crazy, I got 100 or 200 viewers? Or how did that sort of, like, when did you pique your interest?
It's just it took until maybe 6 months after he started streaming for me to even think about doing it myself, poker wise. Like, I streamed after Jamie had started streaming. He did inspire me to start streaming again, but I started streaming video games again. I really never thought I was going to play poker. Like, I started streaming League again, and then the whole poker thing happened by accident. Like, I didn't play yet at this point. So
when you say by accident, elaborate. What happened? You just played?
Well, I mean, I watched Jamie a lot, right? So I started to learn how to play or whatever. So I made an account, and I wasn't like into poker. I just thought I'd make an account or whatever. And then I started playing just like the tiniest baby stakes ever. And then my first stream ever on poker blew up, and that's the only reason I kept playing. Legit. I can tell you the story of my first stream. So here's my first stream ever on Twitch, poker. I was streaming League of Legends with a buddy, right? And he had to take a break or whatever for 15 minutes. And I had like 5 people watching. So I was like, okay, I got to do something to entertain these people. So I'm like, and I knew, everyone had known my name from Jamie's channel. So everyone watching was a poker fan. So it's like, okay, I'm going to load up this poker site, and I'm going to play like a 2-cent hyper, or I'm gonna play like some 1-cent, 2-cent, just until my friend gets back.
Okay.
And then so I switched my game to poker on Twitch, and then people just started like flooding in. Like, I probably got 5 extra viewers. I was like, oh shit, like, this is okay. Hold on. And then my buddy's just like, yeah, just keep streaming poker. So I ended up firing a few like 10-cent sit and goes, and then I got a host from somebody for like 80 viewers. I was like, oh my goodness, this is happening. And then I got another host late in that stream, so I ended up having like 200 viewers on my first poker stream ever. I was like, okay, this is what I do now. I was like, this is what I do now. So I
Poker
kept,
streamer.
yeah, I kept doing it, and then like here we are, kind of thing.
That's amazing. Then
Yeah.
what was it? So what was your name then? What was the give us the Matty Ice the original?
Well,
What was your original Twitch name? Don't
well,
say you
no,
don't remember. You know
that
you
was
remembered it.
that was this account. That was Poker Staples PA, which used to be my moniker because I worked for Jamie.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So that was the original one, like all the way through when you first started out was Poker Stables, because that was up until even last year or so, right? I mean, that was a long time, or 2 years now, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's been 2 years, but yeah, I had that name for a long time. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a great story. It's fun when you host, or if someone gets a host, like those are the ones that are kind of cool. When someone, if you have someone that doesn't really stream much or is a low up and coming streamer, and they get that, because it really does help a lot. It's a big energy boost. It makes people feel good. It gives them some confidence, and it's a cool thing. So I remember my first stream as well, getting a little bit of a boost on something like that, and it's fun, man. Twitch now, so many innovations with the squads and all the new features and stuff they're doing. It's a fun time to be a streamer, and I see the hunger and desire in you right now. It's great, man. It's at 22 years old. I got to remind people you're 22, which is
23.
Really
I had my birthday last week, but
happy birthday!
Same deal. Same deal.
Strong month. Yeah, so that's good. 23 years old. You talk about? There's not really not having goals in poker. You're not a guy that looks at it and says, I want to hit X amount of subscribers or followers, or you do more like time. You said you try to stream 5 times a week. Do you have any bigger goals? Like now you have an ambassadorship with Party Poker. Give us some other type of things that you aim at. Talk us through the process of your journey.
Well, no, I definitely do have goals when it comes to streaming. Like that's the big difference. Right? Like, people ask me about my poker goals all the time, and like my poker goals remain the same forever. Essentially, it's just like get better. So, the results will follow the goal of trying to get better. But I definitely have, in terms of like a monetary goal, in terms of poker, it's just like there's so much variance. Like I can't set a goal for the end of this month because, like one bad beat can change the whole month, So I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to set monetary goals for poker. It can be fun, but I definitely have Twitch goals. Like I'm always sweating my subscribers. I'm trying to hit certain amounts. I'm trying to hit a certain amount of viewers. I want to stream a certain amount of days. So Twitch. I mean the ultimate goal is to become number 1 on Twitch. I definitely want to be number 1 on Twitch at some point. I don't know how long it's gonna. Twitch poker, yes, of course, yeah.
Right. And there's days. Where you are number 1 on the listing. I mean, it's got to feel pretty cool, because that's something that there's not a lot of us that can say that. I mean, how many poker people have ever been number 1 on the listing? It's hard, because there's it's different times of the year and such, but there's only a handful that can say, hey, for hours on end, I'm number 1. Is that something that do you remember that your first feeling of like, wow, this is like I'm king of the Twitch poker streets? I mean, that's got to be a pretty cool feeling to start out. You played $8 tournaments, is that correct? I mean, $8 was your bankroll basically.
I started with $8. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's got to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, once in a while you do get like a moment of realization, like, wow, I'm the number 1 streamer on this listing somehow. Like somehow this is happening. So, I mean, most of the time you're just kind of in the zone, so you're not really thinking about like introspectively, but yeah, you definitely get those moments where it's like, this is pretty crazy. Like very grateful to be in the spot at all. But
yeah, and how do your parents feel? Because I know your mom is a big supporter. You're at home sometimes streaming a decent amount now. Your dad, they're involved. I mean, they must think this is the coolest thing to see their sons. Your other brother Chris as well involved, does filming, editing, a part of the whole process and part of the team. And then your brother, Jamie, obviously he's had his biggest score on Twitch. And biggest, live result. You're crushing, hitting scores. You guys are doing $150,000 weight bets. I mean, what do the Staples think of what's going on? They must think
whatever you think, like whatever level you think they're into it, they're like times it by 5. They're so into it. Like my dad will catch most of my streams, and my dad, he didn't ever think about poker or play poker in his life, but like he'll come to me after a stream and be like, he'll say things like, I hate Ace King. Like I hate Ace King. I hate when you go all in with Ace King.
That's exactly what my dad said.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Like Jacks and Ace King, and he gives me advice too, and or like
he says he gets nervous anytime I get Ace King because that means I'm probably gonna go all in. It's just like, yeah. So he watches all the time. Like he knows how the game works now, and he'll like talk about hands that I play. My mom is.
She just loves her.
She follows everyone on Twitter.
She knows like Ace King to Queen. She could tell you the percent.
No, my mom knows nothing about the game, but
Okay.
she follows all the streamers and people on like Twitter and Instagram, and she like keeps up. She'll be like, "Oh, this guy's going here today." I'll be like, "How do you know that?" Like, I don't know that.
She's surveying the streets for you. She wants to know what's around you. She wants to make sure that everything's good. That's awesome. I mean, she's energy. Your dad's got a little strategy. And how about like neighbors, friends, like your growing up guys like that are not necessarily into poker? Do they think it's like, because you're still in the same area, right? Like, I mean, I'm 33. I'm away. It's different, right? You're like fresh out of college time. You got friends that are still in the area. You're in the home circle right now. How do they, are neighbors, do they come up to you? Or people, is it like, I'm sure your mom tells all her friends and people know, right? Like, they know that you guys are player streamers. So do you get some of that where like friends and family or people, are you a local celebrity? Like, are you at the grocery store and people are stopping you some?
No, I've never, nobody's ever said anything to me in my hometown. But like, you gotta understand, I don't get out very much in my hometown either. Like, I'm very much grinding in my house most of the day. So, my close friends obviously know what's going on, and they're pumped about everything. But yeah, I don't have really an outside circle of friends that I connect with from back in school. Like, they'll reach out to me on social media or something and say, "Oh wow, this is cool" or whatever. But yeah, like a lot of extended family, they all know what's happening with the stream and everything. I have this. My family has a cabin out in BC, and there's like this. It's out in like rural BC. There's like this tiny golf course there that I used to grow up playing at, and the cook, like this 70-year-old female cook, I talked to last week just to reconnect. She knew about the weight bet. That blew my mind. I was like, how do you know about the weight bet?
Well,
that really blew my mind.
To be fair, that's mainstream news, right? I mean, that thing was picked up on TV, and that was a pretty crazy deal. Before, since we dove a little bit into the early stages of how you got into poker, what was going on. Tell us now about that. How do you put that in your trajectory, the weight loss bet? Like, where does that stand out? Because at the time you were still playing smaller stakes. This was a massive bet. And we're talking about 75 grand each to you and your brother. And this was like 3 years ago now, 2 years ago. So you're 21 years old or around that time. And this, I remember this. I mean, this was epic because this happened on Twitch. I want to thank that guy as well. I put a big bet down on you boys, and that someone on Twitch made a comment that spurred this to come to life. Talk to me about this.
Does anyone know who that was?
I want to say there's a screenshot, or
somebody needs to reach out to this guy. Like, does he have any idea what happened?
Nice for him or her, because that was crazy. It basically, what happened? We were outside. We're at Bill's place in St. Thomas. Bill Perkins. Someone says something about to fluctuate how much to flip-flop weights. So 304 pounds to 130-ish. Was that the weights your brother was?
Jamie was like 305. I was about 134.
Yeah. So it's a pretty crazy, when you hear it, it sounds impossible. And then there was late odds, 50, you're 50K. No. 150 to win. And how much was the risk?
3K.
3K. Yeah, that's right. 50 times 3. Okay, so 3K to 150K. Bill's basically saying there's no chance. He's also kind of doing something, hoping to, I think in his mind, perfect scenario is you guys get close, you lose 3K, whatever. He's obviously very generous and looking to do something exciting, puts on a 150K on the line. And I mean, you must have just been over the moon, but was there, because as it got closer, it was more apparent it was going to come down to the weigh-in, and it was like you guys were in good shape. There was sickness along the way, but or initially, were you like, this is ours, this is a guarantee, let's do this? Or were you like freaking out when the bet was made? And not that you have to risk so much, but did you really think it was possible when it was first made?
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. See, I keep coming back. I was just fresh. I was just out of the loop, Jeff. I didn't know what was going on in my life. This Jamie was talking to Bill, and I was just there. I didn't really hear the discussion going down. And Jamie just looked at me. He's just like, "Man, we have to take this bet." I was like, "What bet?" He's just like, "We have to be the same weight." He's just like, "Matt, we have to shake my hand. We have to take this bet." I was like, "Okay." And then over the next few days or week, I kind of understood that what we got ourselves into. And then from there, I really didn't think, too much about whether we're going to get there or not. It's just like, okay, I have a job to do. Just have to bulk and work out every day and see if we can get this done. So I didn't spend a lot of time like thinking about if we're going to get there or fail or whatever. But
so the weigh-in does come down. It was done at Run It Up. It was in Reno. It was very exciting. I got to, blow the whistle, which was kind of fun to see and sweat. Even though I knew you guys were at that time, it was basically you were weighing the same. There's still that nervousness, like maybe the scale malfunctions, maybe there's like a thing. But what was going through your head when you were stepping up to the scale? Like, did you know you had it, or were you still just like, man, until it's done, you're free. You're like,
No,
so
that was the worst part. I feel like this bet would have been fine 50-1 if there was just like you need to get there. I think that would have been just this insane. Like you just have to get there. But then Bill put this extra stipulation of like RNG on it, of like you have to do it on one official weigh-in on a specific day. It's like, well, that's ridiculous. So that was the biggest sweat. Like we knew we were gonna get to the same weight with 2 weeks left or whatever, but like this weigh-in was everything. Like if something happens, it's just like say goodbye to 75 grand, which at that point in my life was that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and to be fair, you were that, like you said, it was your job. So you probably streamed some less hours. You were night and day. You had to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The workouts. You were basically, that was your literal year.
It's the whole year.
Right.
Yeah.
So to lose that would have been maybe the mental loss of not getting that would have been just a little too much to take. Who knows? You might even just be not streaming anymore, right? You might have been not be able to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that year was rough for streaming too. I remember having periods during that year where, because the bulk and whatever took so much out of me, I didn't stream as much, maybe like 3 times a week. Sometimes it just like 2 times. Like I barely streamed, and I was not seeing a lot of growth on Twitch. So if that also didn't work out.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, your brother is very, very unique. One of the leading content creators. He's an ideas guy. He does it all. I mean, I've been a part of some crazy projects with Jamie. We talk a lot. I mean, like you said, you want to be parked. You're in your zone now. You got your comfortable gaming chair. You got your setup. You got your monitors. You're in your happy place, and you're hands down crushing. There is something to be said about that on the life road style. You're traveling a lot. It's expensive. You got to move all the time. The internet issues. I mean, I can relate. How many times have you had places you go, the internet doesn't work, the setup sucks, your chair's not right, the internet's slow, your stuff cuts, you don't have your optimal setup, and that does weigh on you. And it's like, I think it's good. It's part of the journey. You did it. You've done a lot of that, but like you said, that's not you anymore. You're ready to be in one spot and just crush and do do what you want to do. So like, yeah, again, it's such a crazy journey, so exciting. You got it done, and then there was another bet which came up, which was a little more of a risk, because this is what I was thinking. 50K you laid to 150, correct?
Yeah.
For 10%, you each had to get below 10%. And this one scared me. Like the other one I knew of a famous bet where Falafel, this backgammon player, number 1 backgammon player in the world at one point, and his partner, Genius, they had fluctuated weights. Similar-ish bet where it was similar extremes. And I knew it was possible, right? Like I knew it was like, I was like, all right, this could be done. This one seemed the body fat percent stuff is very tricky. Also with Jamie being so, doing so many different things and all over the place and streaming a lot, it was just more intense. At what point did you kind of know this was going to be? Did you think when you first took it, like, all right, we can do this and this is like, we're good? Or did you kind of say, man, I don't know, this sounds scary?
When Jamie and I were talking about it, like I definitely was like, okay, like we need like these odds. Like how motivated are you feeling? Blah, 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 blah. But, when I took the bet, I assumed we could get there. I knew I could get there. And, I just watched Jamie lose 115 pounds in a year. And he was, Jamie was looking for another bet. So he, I had no reason to question his motivation. So, maybe
that itch. He had the itch. Yeah.
I think I probably could have done more research on body fat, how body fat works, like whether it was even possible or whatever. I assumed it was. But yeah, maybe I could have done a little bit more research, but I definitely booked the bet assuming we could win. I don't regret booking the bets.
So talk to me about the highs and lows on that, because that's a big swing. You're still a young guy. You're talking about 20. You're putting up money. You're risking, and so the high of that versus the low. How was that when you had to actually surrender? Was that tough, or what point? How far out did you know that this was like not looking good? And what did that mentally, did that hurt? Like, did you feel the pain on that to lose that?
I honestly probably should have felt more pain. Like that's a big hit. I didn't spend a lot. I knew about like halfway through the year, because to get to 10% body fat takes the full year. Again, it takes the full year. Like I lost 50 pounds after the first bet, like trying to get down to 10%. I got down to around 12.5% before I just like stopped doing it essentially. So I worked the full year. So I knew like, Jamie just wasn't on pace at all. And at that point I was like, okay, I kind of made peace with it at that point. I was like, all right, I'm going to keep trying, see how low I can get. But just the pace that needed to be kept up just wasn't being met. So I kind of made peace with it a lot earlier. So when the time came around that the bet was over, I don't know, I had already kind of been over it.
And at that time now, you were in a nice place. You're streaming a lot. You got a good rhythm. You got your deal with Party Poker. You have a salary coming now, and it's a little different, right? Like life wise, you're kind of growing. And I mean, again, at your age, man, 23 now, you've done a lot. Like I'm just trying to look back where I was at that age, and I mean, to have such a core steady base on Twitch, to have an ambassadorship, all that. So yeah, I guess the pressure probably doesn't hurt quite as much, and put some hair on your chest and learn, it's going to win. You don't always win. And
yeah, well, I mean, there were so many good things that came from the first bet. I mean, in terms of exposure and just the story and everything. So I thought, okay, another bet. If it goes the same, like you're risking a third of what I just won. Seemed very reasonable to me. It's like I'm gonna bank 50K. I risk a third for maybe another potential win. Right? I thought we could win, and then maybe another huge story comes out of it during the year. So I just thought it was a reasonable risk to take. And you're right. Like things were going well for me at the time, so that's just how I looked at it.
Yeah, I do want to. I'm seeing that the questions and everything come in on Twitter, guys. 63 comments already. You're eligible for a $55 Party Poker ticket. Get that retweet out. Ask a question for Matt. We will save some time and run through. I think, Matt, you've scanned over some. There's a lot of interesting, good questions, probably enough for a podcast on its own. So we will make sure we get to that, but plenty more, a lot to talk about. And Matt, I want to know about your biggest tournament moment wins. So I saw you mentioned you've lost 4,000 in a day. I don't know if that's the currently biggest downswing. What's your biggest score? Let's talk about the goodness and what was
biggest score. I got third place in the Sunday Million. This is like 3.5 months ago, I think. So just a guess. But yeah, I won $92,000, which I mean, I spent the first 4 years streaming. I built from $8 to 72. That was my bankroll at the time. $8 to 72, low and slow, didn't take any shots, just grind. And then I just got third place in like a series million and just doubled my bankroll, and then I over doubled it. So that was that
at home? Were you at your parents' house when
I was in Berlin, actually living with Jamie, Rebecca, and Chris. So I mean, that was really insane. That really changed like the amount of media exposure and the channel hype that I got off that, and of course the monetary gains. Like that was pretty insane. I that's like a score that I didn't think I would really ever hit. Right. Just like I can't see it. Like just the way I view myself and my poker game and everything. I'm like, I'm not gonna win $92,000 in a poker tournament. That doesn't happen.
What point? So that happened on what time was that? Must have been like 7 or 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in Berlin.
Yeah, it was deep. It was deep into the night. I don't know.
Right. So you woke up. So your parents were asleep. They don't sweat out. They don't watch all that, right? They don't.
I think they were sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
so
would make sense.
How was that? What was that like? I mean, because those scores, they don't happen a lot, right? Like we play poker. How many Sundays do you break even? You lose a little, you win small. To have that type of day, like what I mean. Tell me the feeling, because it's been a long time, man, that I remember like coming up, because these marks are massive. Like you said, you doubled your bankroll. What in your mind were you just like, I'm going to go crazy now. I'm going to get like, did that reaffirm some stuff? Or you just same as always? Or did that change your course a little bit on what you want to do? With poker?
Yeah, well, it felt like, I had been in Berlin, I had been on a downswing. I think I had the bankroll up to like 80 something. So I was on like a 12K downswing, which was my biggest downswing I'd ever been on at that point. So to have my biggest score during my biggest downswing like felt really nice, just to make sure I can still win at the high stakes, But the actual excitement from that score was like more of a slow release. Like every like day I would wake up and be like, wow, like this is like a new reality. The bankroll's huge. People are hyped about this. I'm getting messages. Like the initial, like right when the tournament finished, I didn't have like any crazy feeling of like, wow, I just won that much money. It was more of a slow release over the next like few weeks. Just feeling really pumped about it.
The magnitude of that is massive. And then how long after that? You had already signed with Party. How long were you signed with Party Poker now? Not long, right? A month or 2 or 3?
Yeah, it was pretty recent. I think 3 months, or 2 or 3 months.
So it's a lot of excitement, a lot of upticks in your life. Talk to us a little about your personal life, because I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to break people's hearts out there. Some females in the chat, but you are in a relationship now?
Yeah, I have a girlfriend. Been talking for close to a year now. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's a long time. That's exciting. Tell me, how is that? How do you balance relationship with streaming, and how has that changed your overall course of that? Because obviously it is, anytime you have a commitment, it adds a responsibility and time allocation. So what changes or obstacles have you found with that?
No, it's just been very nice, honestly. Like I was, like, in the past, I've been single for ever, pretty much. This is my first like serious relationship I've ever had, but it's just nice. Like, she's super supportive of like wanting me to stream and wanting me to grow. Like, she's pumped about the channel and stuff, and like she'd never want to like have me not do stream related things. So it's just it's nice to have some more balance, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. And is that something that you looking forward on kids and stuff? Have you thought about? No, I'm not saying that it's like you're 23. Is that even? Have you considered? 'Cause your brother's engaged and married. Jamie, I want to know. Hey, are you in? Like, things happen fast in the Staples household. I just think move quick.
You just asked me about kids. You just asked me about kids.
We're going to the next question.
Unbelievable, mate.
Next podcast. We'll go to the next podcast.
That is unbelievable.
Well, I know. I'm just saying you like kids or not. I'm not asking if you're going to have kids.
Yeah. I like kids. Sure, I like kids. But
okay. All right, fair enough. Next, I think that was a cue for next question. All right, so current bankroll. Do you separate your bankroll and your life roll? Do you have like, all right, this is for investments that I want to do, this is for my spending, my living, and here's my poker roll, or do you just have one merged roll?
Separate. Yeah, my poker bankroll's always been separate. I haven't really touched that since ever. And I have a life roll that comes from everything else. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And do you think currently the landscape, if you were an up and coming streamer, you see yourself, Pav, some other streamers get signed, some of the top unsigned streamers, what would you give them for advice? Do you feel it's a good time to be streaming? Give some pros and cons to streaming and for up and coming streamers, if you would.
I mean, it's the amount of pros that comes from streaming is like massive, right? Like you can generate other sources of income. I think your game gets better. I think you take poker a lot more seriously, and you talk through your decisions. That's basically how I learned how to play, is just talking through decisions on stream and be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Like, you have to make sure what people say, like, the best way to, I don't know what the saying is, but like the best way to learn is to like teach it to somebody, or making sure you can teach it to somebody. And that's kind of what Twitch is, right? You're trying to give a reasonable explanation on why you're doing everything you're doing. So I think it really helps to learn. And like, I still think poker's got to be the easiest listing on Twitch to get big, because people love watching deep runs, no matter who you are. Like, if you're playing and you final table a huge tournament on Party Poker or whatever, even if you're a no name, you're gonna get a lot of viewers on Twitch, and that's like one of the rare things on Twitch. It's one of the rare games. So I still think it's so reasonable for people to grow. And you see these poker sites signing a lot of people. Party Poker just created their team, and they sign. How many people are on the team, Jeff? Do you know?
Yeah, well, we just had Kevin Martin decide that he was, he's one of the top streamers and personalities in Twitch, and he was on the team, and he just was looking to go a different direction. So he stepped down. I believe there's 9 active. And that was, again, a team that was not, there was no team. There's literally, Monaco's on the team now. She was streaming on the Party Poker channel, so that did open a lot of doors. I think Tonka's no longer with 888. He didn't renew his deal. He was the big guy there. So I mean, there is room, and there is opportunity. It's not just like and now Stars lost some of their main streamers, and they've signed a handful of new up and coming ones. So I mean, it does show.
So that's what I was gonna say. I mean, Party Poker created their whole new team. Stars signed some smaller streamers, right? So people are getting signed right now, and it seems like that's the trend. So it's definitely a good time to do it, and it's fun.
I think it's too, if you're playing online poker, it's one of those things too. It's a fun way to record your stuff. You can then review it with people, send them a hand, a clip. It's a little more fun to watch than plugging in like a program. It's also a good way to get feedback. It's a good way to keep people involved, and I think there's a lot of benefits to that as well. And also building your own brand, right? Like if you're it's like playing a video game back in the day. It's like you're playing NBA Jam or something. It's kind of whatever. There's not really a lot of extra value you're doing. But if you're streaming on Twitch, you can justify and say, well, I don't know if it's going to turn into something, but I am building, some advertisers, or you get some deal with some different sites or affiliate revenue or some opportunities. And yeah, so I think it's good, and it does seem like a good time.
I mean, it's not all pros. I mean, there's definitely it's you have to like it. You really have to like it though, because it's a lot harder to play 8 hours of poker on Twitch compared to 8 hours of poker off Twitch. Like it's a lot more exhausting, a lot more tiring. And especially in the early days, like if you're rocking, 3 viewers, 5 viewers, that can be pretty exhausting to try to put on a show for that many people. So it's got to be something you get into because you want to put on a show and it's fun. Like I would try to avoid getting into it just purely with like, I'm going to get signed in mind. I mean,
right.
I think it's just going to be a tougher road.
Yeah, I think also we've discussed this too, and it's the early part is really difficult. And if you're waiting for everything to be perfect, I'm sure your overlays changed, your design, your graphics has changed, you've changed your name, gotten different equipment, kind of go along. If you just wait and say, oh, I need to have the best equipment, I got to have the best camera, I got to have the best thing, I need all this, it's just never going to happen. I think if you want to do it, really dive in. Don't worry about how many people are watching, and just do it because you love poker, you love people, and for the right reasons. What are some upcoming plans? I see I took a look. Hendon, live poker you haven't done a ton of. First of all, you're only 23 fresh, so like there's not like you've been able to play live or go to the World Series and stuff. Does that interest you at all? Have you looked at some of the stops and say, hey, this year I want to do this, or I'm going to play the World Series next summer, come to the Bahamas for the Party Poker Caribbean coming up? What are your live plans? Do you have any on your radar?
Yeah, I really do want to play live. I know at some point in my career I'm going to mix in a lot more live poker. I mean, it sounds super fun to me, taking some time off and going to these tournaments, traveling. But right now, like my goals are just all Twitch oriented, and I don't see a ton of value in taking time off of Twitch to go play live poker. It feels more like a vacation to me than actually work. I know that there's just so much value in being home and streaming. So that's really where I'm at with live poker. I definitely want to, in the next few years, go to some live events and play live and get better and enter that scene. But Twitch is my number one baby right now.
Looking on your Instagram right now, looks like the other day you did just have a 25K score as well. Is that
it's my second biggest score ever. It was a 320 KO series event.
Wow.
Got second in that PKO. So
jeez, it's a nice uptick there. And I see you got the shirt off. You're showing a little bit of your results from
that's a little summer. Yeah,
that's wifey, girlfriend.
Yeah, that's the 10%. That's the 10% bet at work.
Is that 10? What's that, 11? Is that 10?
No. That's like 15 probably.
Really?
People vastly overestimate or underestimate body fat. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Good to know. Okay, so live poker on the radar. You're looking to do that. Is the main? Is that like a definite next year? The WSOP main event?
It's not a definite. I can't book any plans. I want to be number one on Twitch so bad. I just like, if everyone else is going to Vegas, like the first thing that pops up in my head is like, okay, you should stream then. It's just like, if everyone else is taking time off, well, steal their viewers, keep streaming.
You're contrarian. That's good. Yeah. That's smart. That's how, it's the way to do it. I agree with that. Who is your favorite? Do you have some Twitch streams you like to watch that are non-poker? Do you watch Twitch some when you're not playing, or is it just you spend so much time on a computer and watching, you don't really have time to sweat other streams?
Yeah, more the second one. When I'm not streaming myself, I usually like to do other things, like get out of the house or Netflix or just a different platform. But I've been super into chess. I'm like huge into chess right now. Like just started playing a few months ago, and so yeah, I watch all the chess streamers. I'm starting to make friends with the chess streamers. I'm gonna start streaming chess myself. I'm super into chess. So a lot of those streamers, man, I sweat those like daily.
What about have you played Backgammon?
Never played Backgammon, no.
I would, before you dive down the chess rabbit hole, Nope.
Yeah, you can't stop me. But let's hear it. Let's hear what you're gonna say. You can't stop me though.
Backgammon is a kind of a hybrid. I think it's just quicker. It's a very exciting game. I think there's a lot more gambling in it as well. Like people, that's a common thing. Actually, numerous poker players were backgammon players, and it's like one of those games that got solved. Sort of like the poker heading down the solver streets and getting tougher and people learning. Backgammon is one of those things where it's still super complicated. Like me and you aren't going to solve it. By where we're not going to, you can't really, it take a long time, but I'm just saying like the best games have dried up in the tournaments. There's not really that scene anymore because it's, there is a right move at every street, where chess has got more opportunity and different, it's a little crazier, but anyway, I think you would enjoy it. I would suggest to play.
I'll check it out.
I think you'll like it. It's fast. It's fun. So chess, interesting. Okay. Yeah. I played a little chess this year for the first time in a long time. I do like it, but it's frustrating when I'm not very good because it does take a while.
I mean, there's a huge crossover, which is why I'm kind of interested in it. There's a huge crossover between chess and poker. Like the chess listing, if I go into a chess channel on Twitch, more people know me in that listing than anywhere else on Twitch. And chess streamers are hosting poker streamers a lot. Poker streamers are hosting chess streamers. There's a lot of chess players that play poker, a lot of poker players that play chess. So it's a nice crossover. And like aside from that, like I just find the game a lot of fun. It's very cool. So
nice, interesting. Yeah. So is there anyone in particular, any chess streamer you really like, you follow or you try to take a look at? Or
yeah, I like Hikaru. He's like, one of the top players in the world, so watching him play is, the thing, when you watch like a top poker professional, it's not always super obvious why they're so good. Like you'll watch them and be like, how is this guy made millions and millions? Like you can't really see the brilliancy of it because there's so much randomness in poker and so many little things that you're not really sure why it makes them so good. But in chess, you can really tell when somebody's super good. Like that's why I like watching Hikaru. Like you can just tell he's so insanely good at the game, and it's very apparent. So that's cool. I watch Chess Bras. It's two guys from Calgary. They stream on a channel. They do some coverage. Alexandra Botez, she's a chess streamer. So yeah, those are a couple that I watch.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm gonna take a look at that. I have heard that recently. Someone else mentioned that. I think Ghost of M as well is pretty alert to the chess scene, and he was mentioning the crossover and how that's becoming prevalent. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's good. I think there's something else to remind me to talk to you about later after stream that you might like with the crossover between chess and poker. Some new stuff happening. There's some things happening out there in the gaming world. Matty Ice. Getting rich in poker is hard, you say. What would you consider, I guess, rich, or what is there a certain amount of money? I mean, you love it. Is there any goals that you say, you know what, do you have a plan and I want to play poker for 2 years, 5 years, till 30? Do you just kind of go with the flow as you're enjoying it, play and keep doing what you love, or do you have any do you have a monetary amount of money in your mind that you think would be, okay, I'm safe, okay, I feel good, okay, now I'm going to do other things? Like, how do you approach it from that level? Have you thought about that? I mean, again, you're so young. 23 is crazy. But you have a nice base. Poker, I think one of the tricky things in poker is the people that don't have a sponsorship, which is the vast majority, the people that don't have a Twitch channel, some affiliate revenue, streams of income coming in. Raise Your Edge, something we both work with, and I know we could talk about some studying and stuff you do with them, and that's obviously it's a good program to be involved with. But do you feel more stable, I'm sure now? Like, again, you're way ahead of the curve for your age. Is there a certain mark or benchmark that you want to look at or get to, or you feel like you would say, okay, I'm good, or how do you approach that in life at this age?
Yeah, well, once again, I kind of touched on it earlier. Like, I just don't have a monetary goal in terms of where I want to get to, because I just think it can be so random. Like the Sunday Million score for 93K, right? Like, I could never see that coming. I could have got 50th, and this entire year would have been different for me if like the cards played a little bit differently, right? So I just think there's just so much randomness. But I want to just keep going up in stakes. You touched on how I have some stability, which is true. I do have the sponsorship and the Twitch channel and stuff. So since I don't have to worry about living expenses and all that stuff, I just want to keep moving up in stakes, and hopefully at some point just be able to play all the high stakes tournaments online whenever I can, right? Which is going to drive more viewers to the Twitch channel. I want to be able to play 1Ks, anything that's running, 2Ks, 5Ks, 10Ks, whatever. I want to be able to play all of it online at some point. So that's where I'm trying to head in poker.
And what about live? Do you find, like, does playing a 10, 25, if the main event's a 10K, let's say a 25K or 100K live, is that something you could see? I guess like as realistic now as you playing, what's the biggest buy-in you've played? 5,000 or 2,000? What's the largest?
Live or online?
Well, either.
Online, a 2K is the biggest one I've ever bought into myself, and then live would be a 1K. But I got like staked for that one.
Right.
I don't know what's the most I spent live. So yeah, like a 2K would be the biggest I've ever played.
So what is that something like? Is that in your mind? You see Triton or some of these cool high rollers, or is that something that you say one day I'm going to play $100,000 buy-in tournament live, or is that not even something you really care about or think about, or is that like?
Yeah, I look at myself as such a live fun player. Such a live fun player that I just don't even think about live yet. You'd have to ask me in a few years after I've played a lot, because maybe I'll have more ambitions to play high stakes live. But right now, I think about myself sitting at a table. Like I think I have a good poker strategy, but like actually sitting at a table with a bunch of sickos, I would be too out of my element at this point. So you'd have to ask me in a few years. But right now, I only have online ambitions.
Did take my dad out at a live tournament, I believe, or maybe us all out. But
yeah. Reno's a little different compared to Triton, but
yeah, it's But hey, then again, like I said, you're playing $8 1 cent 2 cent. Now you're playing $2,000 buy-ins online. Look at the multiple on that. I mean, it's not that crazy. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about your work ethic and studying and away from it with Raise Your Edge, other programs you use and doing work. How has that been impactful? And when did you really start actually studying? Because it is hard to stream and study, find the balance in the life, because it's very tricky. So how do you do that?
I started like the first time I ever started studying like legitimately, like really like going through a course or using tools was right when I hit the mid stakes. When I hit the mid stakes online, because I had kind of just like figured it out as I went and like watched Twitch streams to get up to the mid stakes. Once I hit the mid stakes, I went on like a huge downswing because the play is so different from compared to like low stakes to mid stakes. You know, there's regulars at the mid stakes that like start to 3-bet bluff and take weird lines against you, and they're just way more solid. So that's when I started studying, and I went through the Raise Your Edge course. I went through the whole course, and you know that was enough at that point to, you know, get me to be a winning player at the mid stakes and move up into the high stakes. And really, ever since then, I've been studying like reasonably consistently. You know, now I'm doing more work with doing some private coaching with Ben CB from Raise Your Edge. So that's been really helpful. Just doing some higher level coaching in that sense, and using programs to look at spots to, you know, take my game to the next level. It's a pretty standard story, but yeah, I try to do a few hours a week. I definitely don't study as much as I need to crush high stakes, but I try to at least get some in.
For sure.
Yeah.
And talk about on a bad day. If you have your worst days at lost 4,000, or what's like a really bad day for you on from streaming or playing online? Like what's like a day where you could, if you really it goes wrong, what's like?
Yeah, the biggest losing session I ever had was 4,000, and that was like last Sunday.
Oh wow, fresh off. So you had a big score recently, 25K, and you had a bad. So you had one of your biggest scores and one of your biggest losses.
Yeah, not 2 days ago, but the week before. Yeah.
Right. So how does that, when you lose 4,000, what kind of adjustments do you make mentally? Do you say, or do you look it over and you say, wow, like I really did some stuff? You just kind of try to analyze, like, did I play bad? Was I running bad? You're pretty realistic, maybe not results oriented, but is that something? Because yeah, when you talk about 4,000 downswing, if you have 200,000 roll or it is significant. So is that something you say, maybe I need to cut back on the next session? I'm going to play less buy-ins. Do you go do the same buy-ins? How do you approach when you have a losing setback like that?
You know, obviously it definitely hurts because I'm very straight. Like I keep all my buy-ins, caches, bankroll, that kind of stuff. I keep it public on the stream. So like it's more the fact that everyone else can see that I lost $4,000 and they might be sweating it. You know, they might be like, oh wow, Matt lost all this money. Like what's going on? Is he playing bad?
Your parents,
blah blah blah. I don't know how my parents feel about me just burning 4K US just in 8 hours. I don't know. It's but me personally, it's like I'm rolled for the games I'm playing, so that's fine. I believe myself to be a winning player, and that's just as far as it goes. I don't really mind having a losing session on that level.
Right. So. Okay. Sounds like you seem pretty solid, man. You don't get Matty Ice as the nickname and for nothing. You're not gonna freak out with a little setback. What is the the thoughts on the changes on Party Poker with the alias race or alias names now. So everyone changed their name. Obviously, us who have our name is our name. We're sponsored pros. But what did you think when that change happened, as well as the no statistics, no HUDs, heads up displays? Like, this is a pretty major move in the industry. We've been playing poker for a long time. I know you've used different ones. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it feels a little bit like the Wild West, the aliens change. You don't know who anyone is, which is kind of fun. Like, everyone knows who you are. I don't know who anyone else is. That was a little bit different. Like, you get used to playing the same players, so it's kind of interesting trying to figure out, where all the regulars are, who the fun players might be, and stuff like that. In terms of the HUD, going from HUD to no HUD for me was like really simple. I really didn't think about it much. It's like, okay, nobody has a HUD now. That's fine. Just got to be, a little bit more straightforward with your strategy. So I didn't have a hard time adjusting to it. It seems like, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews from the community. I'm sure you have as well. Like, I have people in my chat that will say things like, oh, Party Poker has no HUDs. Like, that's awesome. I'm going to deposit. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to go play. And then you'll have people saying like, oh, I really miss HUDs. I wish they had HUDs. Right. So it seems like there's people on both sides. As for me personally, I don't mind playing without a HUD. And I'm honestly doing better now, results wise, since that change came through. So
yeah, I think that's fair to say too. I think it is kind of nice. It's sort of refreshing. I think it's a little stressful at first when you think about it, and like, oh, how's it going to be? Is it going to be great? But really, in theory, it does neutralize and level the playing field, because the reality is, HUD's nice. Like, I would rather have one than not. But
yeah.
The fact is, it's actually most likely beneficial to us and the majority that don't have it, because like someone's probably using a HUD better than we are. Like, they're using the turn statistics or the river statistics better than I'm going to be able to do it. Or if I'm, so I think in theory it takes away a little bit of pressure, stress.
Yeah, I think it depends on how well you use the HUD in the first place, for sure. Because there's going to be some people that are running some crazy setups that have like 100 stats, and they're just like exploiting you like crazy and doing all these perfect 3-betting strategies, and like that. Them not having a HUD is great. If you're just like loosely looking at big blinds and raise first in stats, then it's not that big of a deal. So I think on that sense, I think it depends on what level you were using a HUD in terms of how much you're going to get affected by this.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And so it's been good. You've been on an uptick. Everything's moving smoothly. What is outside? If you weren't playing poker, is there something that you thought of if you weren't streaming or playing poker? Have you just been so dialed in, don't even consider it? What were you thinking before? Did you want to do? Like, is there any other profession or hobbies that you really like that you think you would want to be in if you weren't doing this? Like, what could you see yourself doing if you weren't streaming? Or is this it?
This is it for sure. I didn't have any plans. I guess this is probably why it is because I didn't have any like plans for my future before I got into streaming. I did take a year at university, but I didn't have a major or anything. I just took general courses and was kind of trolling around, honestly, my first year. So I just want to see how far I can go in poker and how far I can go with Party Poker and Twitch. And if poker for some reason doesn't work out or whatever, I'd still stay on Twitch. I'd try to do something, I'd get into chess, see how far I can go in chess. I don't know. But yeah, this is really it for me.
And do you believe that poker is dying? Do you feel good about it? Have you noticed online you said you've been doing better since these changes, like the alias and the no HUDs, but what is your overall thought on the poker industry and where it's headed? Because you're not really a live guy, but I'm sure you pay attention. The numbers are up. Live events seem good. There's literally, if you want to play live poker, there's a tournament in the world, if not in your local area, in some of the major areas all the time, every week. It's like hard to keep up with it. Online also has been holding fairly firm, even though there's been some talks and appeal solvers and these different things, and people are getting better and it's getting tougher. But what do you feel from a perspective of poker in the state we're in?
I honestly feel like I'm the wrong guy to ask this question to. I'm really in my own zone, in my own head when it comes to poker and Twitch. Like, whether there's a decline or an uptick, like I'm doing the same thing. I'm gonna stream on Twitch. I'm gonna play what tournaments are available. I'm gonna do my best to run it up. So I don't really keep my finger on the industry in terms of where it's headed. I listen to what other people are saying. People do seem very actively concerned about where online is headed. People seem to be doing like trying their best to like, give it all the attention it deserves and like make things better so that it can get back to a good place. So it seems like something needs to be done about online, because it seems like a lot of the industry leaders are trying to improve it. Does that make sense? That's kind of how I see it. So I don't actually know what the numbers are live and online. I don't know where it's headed. But I'm going to keep doing my thing either way.
For sure. I see some interesting comments in the chat here. Again, guys can ask a question on Twitter. Get the retweet competition done at the end. We'll let Matt choose a winner for the 55 ticket.
Nice.
Maddie Burns, Burnsy23, no stranger to the Twitch streets, is in here. And he is asking, do you feel that Twitch is holding you back from going out and exploring the world and being active rather than staying inside all the time? You did touch on it, like you don't, local, you're not like at the grocery, you're not out all the time, you're sort of inside, stay to yourself. But do you feel that that's hampered you in any way, or that you're not doing enough stuff, or what's your take on that?
No, I think it's the opposite. I mean, like being a Twitch streamer and playing poker full time, it gives you more freedom than if I was doing something else, right? I could take tomorrow off and go explore the city, or I could fly to London tomorrow and like play some live poker or whatever. There's so much freedom, and I've managed to travel the world a ton already, just because I am a streamer and a poker player. So I feel like I've done so much, and Twitch is the only reason I've been able to do it already. So no, I don't think it hinders me at all in terms of like, not getting out and stuff, like fitness wise. There's always time to go to the gym after the stream. There's definitely time for social time, and I do get out a decent amount, but yeah, I think it's the opposite.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I think it's you can find yourself in a matrix, if you will. It's easy to get in a situation, especially during some of these series. I'm guilty of it before, for 2-3 weeks where I'll wake up, roll out of bed, start streaming. I'm not properly doing this stuff, but there's always time to do it. Yeah, do a meditation, take a little time, work out, get some good food, then start. Because I think my best Sundays are usually that, when I say, if I try to get in that last registration, late reg, like the early stuff, and it's just kind of too hectic, like realizing there's so many tournaments, it just takes one great run. Take your time, get everything on, get everything situated, and then do your best. But listen, we've lived and learned on Twitch. I mean, we've really been through, some great times, some tough times. I know you've seen it. You've had some troubles and different traveling situations, because it really is important. Like, I think when you're comfortable, you have a nice setup, you feel good, you're relaxed, like good things happen. And I think that's true in life. And I know we've talked about this a lot, and it seems like you have yourself a really, really good rhythm, really good setup. It's cool you get to be with your parents and be there and have that opportunity to kind of travel when you want, but then also be at home base, because that's definitely very special. I do want to go over now to some, because there's a lot. I always say this, but it might be a record. I think this is one of them. Bryn Kinney had a lot. There's a lot always, but this is this is wild. We got some
lot of questions on Twitter.
People watching live as well. This will be on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. So it'll be across the board here shortly, everyone. And appreciate you guys tuning in live to check this out. But let's hit the Twitter, because I think, let's try to get these through. Not a lot of trolls. Matty Ice has real, legit, strong fans. Maybe there's a couple we'll kind of dive through here. You can always pass on any of these, but let's try to rapid fire through as much of these as we can.
Sure.
Timio asked, what was your biggest bad beat?
Yeah, I saw that one. I was trying to think of something like my worst equity beat. I had like top boat against runner quads. Like, I remember that still from like way back, but it wasn't in an important spot or anything. I was really trying to think about like a bad beat I took at like a final table for a lot of money. And I couldn't remember, which I guess is a good thing. I think it's a good thing that I can't remember my worst bad beat, but
that's crazy. That's like goes against the grain in rounders.
Right? I know. I'm trying to think of like some final table where I took a massive beat. I can't answer this one.
Too clean, living too clean. Do you see yourself playing more live tournaments in the future? We did kind of cover this.
Yeah.
already. So you guys can, if you weren't watching, you should go back and check that out. Did you ever think it would be possible to escalate your stream as much as you did starting out, or it just sort of happened?
Yeah, we kind of touched on that a bit. I mean, I never thought I was going to be a full-time streamer, full-time poker player. Things just started to get better and better, and then I ran with it. So yeah, I didn't really think it would hit this level ever.
Okay, biggest poker game ever live. Like maybe you played some cash games too? It looks like your tournaments you haven't played a ton, but did you do the live cash game grind ever or not really?
No, I never played cash. My biggest result live, I played the 1K or the 1100 thrill at Run It Up Reno, and I got 5th in that. I final tabled that for I want to say 11,000 or maybe 8,000.
Yeah,
Is it on there?
in mob here it shows 5K, but then you had the bounties, so probably
Yeah, there's some bounty money. That would make more sense if it was around 8,500. So that'd be my best live score. But yeah, I mean, how many tournaments have I played? Does it say on there? Like
you can't really see it; just shows caches.
Like 15 tournaments maybe ever. So
okay, so there you go. Since your recent big scores in MTTs, what advice would you give to MTT players that get in the money but can't get top places? Because obviously the top 3 spots, top 5 are where the real lion's share is. And what adjustments have you made, or is there any advice you could give on that and how to get those spots if you're min cashing a bunch?
yeah, well, I'd do your best to study ICM. I mean, when you get late in tournaments, there's a lot of spots that don't apply to early or mid stages that apply to late stages in terms of putting pressure on certain stacks, right? Where they don't want to bust the tournament, or they have to call super tight or whatever. So recognizing where you can take those spots and maybe play more hands, or recognizing spots where you can like maybe jam on somebody a lot wider. There is really a lot of situations deep in tournaments where you need to play different poker than you would early because of the payouts and because you're so deep, right? So I mean, it's a little bit tough to give general advice, but yeah, studying ICM and what kind of plays you can make in relation to the payouts is huge when it comes to late in this tournaments.
Okay. Let's see. We've covered, man, we've done a good job. We've covered a lot of ground so far. A lot of the people know a lot of the major moments, and there's a lot of questions about this, but is it okay? How about, is there a rivalry between you and your brother? Are you and Jamie pretty competitive or supportive? I mean, what's your how would you describe your relationship?
No, we're very much on the same team. Very much on the same team. You know, whenever we talk about Twitch or poker, whatever, we're talking about how to both grow and like both succeed and stuff like that. I mean, like obviously there's a little bit of like fun rivalry. Like I was talking to Jamie yesterday, and I was asking him what his stream schedule is going to be this week. He's just like, I don't know what days I'm going to stream, but I'm going to start earlier than you. That's what he said. So there's a little bit of like funny rivalry that way, but
right.
No, we're definitely a team.
Like a 6-hour, 7-hour time zone difference. That's if you better get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true.
Did you think you had a realistic shot at winning the body fat percentage? I guess that you did touch on that. You thought midway through you kind of knew it wasn't going to happen, but you obviously when you took it, you knew you could do it, and you must have thought there was a chance, right? I mean, you knew there was a chance, or you wouldn't have bet it. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. I would never put down 25K on something I thought I was going to lose.
Exactly. Matt and Jeff, this question to you both regarding live tournaments. Final table deals are allowed in some events and not in others. Where do you stand on them? Do you have I mean, you could use this for online as well. What do you think about deals in tournaments?
I mean, I think deals can make monetary sense for people. So in that sense, like I don't know in the relation to like tournament directors and casinos, I don't know the pros and cons of them running it or not, but online it certainly makes sense to make deals in certain lineups, right? If they're offering you a good deal and they're much better players and you're deep or something. I've never personally made a deal at a tournament because I'm always streaming my final tables and I don't want to make a deal. I want to stream the heads up match, right? You know, I might be giving up some money in equity, but like putting on a good show is definitely worth. So I mean, in terms of the live deals, I'm gonna have to leave this up to you, Jeff. I don't know how that works.
No, I think deals are great. I think it's really cool. You know, it's a lot of these times it's huge buy-in or smaller buy-ins, huge payouts where you can talk about $1,500, $3,000, $300, $500, $800,000 the first. You get a couple guys down there. You think they're good players, or it's close, or like when it's like when you get down to 15, 20, 30 blinds. you're talking about no matter how good you are, still the money's going to go in a lot of spots that you just can't avoid. So yeah, if you're locking up 6-figure scores, or really doesn't matter, whatever it is, a $10 tournament, it's a huge return ROI, and it's a big deal. I've made deals before. I'm not actively looking for deals, but my biggest Twitch score ever was 141K, and we did a deal.
It's huge.
So it was a $500 buy-in, and
I forgot about that score. That's huge.
Yeah, it was a 25-hour stream, and I was like getting married in 2 days. I was like, weddings, let's lock it up. Like,
hold on. That was a 25-hour stream?
Yeah, 25 hours straight, plus a little more than that. It was
how did that happen?
All right, so I don't want to take away from your podcast, but it was an interesting scenario where I was in Brazil, and I started at like 8-ish in the morning Brazil time. And so Brazil and East Coast fluctuates different times of the year, the time zones based on daylight savings in Brazil and there. So it was a 3-hour time difference. So I really started at like 5 a.m. Eastern. And then the tournament that I won, or chopped three-handed with the most chips, started at 4 p.m. Eastern, which was 7 p.m. So literally I had been streaming for like 12 hours when that tournament started. So
that's insane.
And it was my last screen going. So I had one screen for the last like 10 hours. And, yeah, it's my theory as well about playing less tables do better. I always my biggest 5 or 6 scores are always when I have 1 or 2 tables, and that's it. And it just, I can't help myself, but that's definitely a more profitable play. So anyway, that was a crazy stream. What's your longest stream time?
15 hours, nothing crazy. I'm not a marathon guy, really.
Listen, 25, that was like, the thing is, there's not like I'm doing 20-hour streams on the regular. That was for sure my longest. I've done like a lot of 12, 13, 14, but yeah, that was like significantly longer. So whenever you have a 15-hour stream though, it's good, right? Like it's hard to have a stream. Like
it feels so good after, like if you finish a marathon like that, you just feel so satisfied. It's great. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Thailand?
Nope.
What is your favorite TV series?
Game of Thrones, pretty standard, but I like Game of Thrones a lot.
Yep.
You watch it, Jeff? You don't seem like a Game of Thrones person. You watch it?
Yeah, I love Game of Thrones. I am
really.
I'm a big Game of Thrones. I like Breaking Bad a lot, and House of Cards.
House of Cards.
But I really don't watch TV. But yeah, Game of Thrones, I'm not missing. Let's see, Matt. How long after a long grind and deep run? Have you any regimens for winding down? Do you go for a jog or what? What's your deal? Eric Ground's Luck asking.
Yeah, I try to just get away from the computer pretty much. I go to the gym every night, so I like to go to the gym after a session, or I go for a walk, or I just like get out of this setup that I'm in, because after you stare at the screens for like 10 hours, 11 hours, whatever, you just move spaces at least, even if you move over like 10 feet to the couch or something. I find that's nice to like get out of the.
Are you literally a drop the mic, like your stream's off and you're out, or do you like go through some messages, catch up with your stuff? Do you spend time there, or when you're done, you're out?
I'm not out, but I like to come back. Well, I guess I kind of am out. Yeah, like if my stream's over, I'll host somebody, I'll say what's up, and then I try to leave my computer, go eat, go do something, and then I'll come back and maybe finish up my work or do some more stuff. But yeah, I try to get out of the way like pretty quick after.
Okay. What is your favorite non-poker themed YouTube channel? Also your favorite YouTube channel, poker, I would like to know, but what's your favorite do you watch some YouTube stuff?
Chess. This is a chess channel called a Gadmater, and he reviews all the professional chess games that happen, and he like goes through all the moves and like what the best moves are. And yeah, so I watch him. Like he puts out like 2 videos a day. I haven't missed a video in like 4 months. It's the best.
You gotta send me into that. I don't know if I need any new any more hobbies of entertainment. Like I'm trying to do less, not more, but I would like to check it out and see what's the madness is about.
Yeah, he's the goat.
If you would.
In terms of poker, I watch a lot of different highlight videos. Like whoever, all the biggest streamers, they'll put up videos. I'll click on a few of those a week, but I don't sweat like every video from anyone in the poker world.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And why poker and not another sport? I like how they call poker sports an argument, but where you in flip flops? I don't understand that exact question, but I guess why poker and not other stuff? Why do you think you stream poker versus like chess or some other thing? Like just kind of, was your brother had your influence on you initially? And
Yeah, my brother got me into it, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, there's not really a game like poker, right? It's a pretty unique game, so it's kind of hard. You can't really replace poker with anything. There's nothing that's going to replace the game, I think.
Right. Okay. Are you happy in this modern world, or do you need more? Are you content with what's going on? Do you feel like you're looking for more? Or are you like, man, I love what's going on. I love Twitch. I love what I'm doing, and you're
I'm
happy?
not. No, I'm not content. I'm not content at all. Like if I was gonna stay exactly where I am for the next 2 years, I'd be pretty disappointed. Not that I'm not in a good spot, but like you always want to grow, and that's just the Twitch game. You want to grow. You want to get bigger. You want to see how far it can go. So I definitely feel like I'm in a good spot, but I'm not content. No.
Okay. I see Colton Smith live chat saying, Matt, CF Smith from Twitch, I think that it would be awesome to stream some study sessions, solver work. What are your thoughts on doing that type of stuff on stream versus not? Because I thought about that too, like saying, all right, I'm just going to study for 3 hours and have it up on the side, the Twitch chat. They can kind of see what I'm doing, maybe get Ben or someone else to call in for part of it. What are your thoughts on doing study sessions on Twitch?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I mean, if you're doing it to help people out. I mean, it's very obvious that if you do a study stream versus a normal tournament stream, you're going to get a lot less viewers. So, I mean, it might not be the most efficient use of your time, but I mean, if you're going to study anyway, you weren't planning to stream, I think mixing in a study stream is good. I don't know. I do most of my studying on off days, and on off days, I don't really want to stream because I'm trying to give myself a break from Twitch. So that's kind of why I don't really mix it. On a streaming day, I don't want to stream something that I'm going to get less viewers. I would like to just put out a normal tournament session, and then on an off day, I don't really want to be streaming. So that's kind of what the roadblock is for me. But I know there's definitely people that would enjoy it, and I think it'd be pretty fun. So, I've seen All in Pav do one, and people seem to like when Pav does it.
Right. I think it would be interesting to maybe even too, which is it's easier said than done. And I haven't done that, but what if you finish a stream to like just go into studying and something, but that's kind of, if it's a long stream, it's kind of, you want to decompress, and it's sort of, it's a bit tricky to just sort of, to do that. But that I've thought about that as well. Interesting though. I like what you're saying. It's true. You kind of also, I think it takes away some focus, right? Like it's like you're either studying or you're just like studying, but you're missing the chat, or you're watching the chat. You're probably going to get a lot less studying done. So it's time allocation, I think, is a little bit tricky there. What is it like to be at Party Poker theme with your brother? What's it like to be a member of Team Party Poker?
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, the fact that I've said this probably too many times during this podcast, but I didn't think I was going to get into poker seriously. So the fact that like 4 years later, we're both signed to a big poker site on the same team is pretty silly. Like it's very cool. So yeah, I like working with Jamie, and I mean, it's dream come true for sure.
Absolutely. How to stay focused after a really bad beat in a big tournament?
Oh man, how to deal with bad beats.
Is it, so you say you can't really remember, but there must be, I mean, there are some where you're in a big tournament or a big buy-in, and it just like, you lose ace king to ace queen, you have a knockout for a big money. You just know that like it was such a crazy momentous swing.
Yeah, I deal with tilt for sure. I didn't used to deal with tilt, actually. I used to be some mental game rock. I didn't just like care as much or something. But now that I'm playing high stakes and I'm competing against really good players, it really bothers me losing these days. Like I deal with tilt more now than ever. So I'm dealing with this for sure. But
any suggestions, anything, tricks you do? I mean, I'm sure you hold it together pretty well on stream when you take a bad beat. You got to, but do you have like a squeegee, like a stress ball? Do you have any like a dartboard with? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I could talk for a full hour on mental game and tips and tricks, but okay. I think it's just good to keep it in perspective is always really important. Reminding yourself that you also have ran very well in a lot of spots to get to the deep run, and that's almost always true. Right. So I like to remind myself of that. It's just like, listen, man, you won 5 flips and then you lost at 70-30. Like, what do you want? Like how many times do you want to run good in a row? Yeah. And it's not going to make it feel better, but it might just calm you down a little bit to be like, okay, I don't deserve to win every single all in. That's fair. Right. And then also So go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, go. I
I
like
was
where
just gonna say, the number one tip to keep reinforcing is just to focus on decision making only. Like just don't even look at your screen. If you make a good decision, just put your hand in front of your screen. Don't watch the result because the only thing you have in poker is decisions. That's it. That's not gonna help tilt. But if you reinforce that idea every time, over time, you're gonna get a lot better at dealing with bad beats. So always focusing on decision making is the best way to go. But easier
for
said
sure.
than done, of course.
Absolutely. What's up, Pat Mill? I see you saying two of the nicest guys in poker right here. Good to have you. Thanks for the kind words. I would also say sometimes watching like a highlight, like I'll go back and after I have like a YouTube video that goes up and I'm like, oh man, like, oh, I got it in tens and I shouldn't even have cashed. And now I got third in the tournament. And it's like, oh, I lost a flip. But that it is funny about poker tournaments because the last hand is rarely the decisive hand. There was a small blind, big blind, or a bad call, or a bad bluff, or whatever, right? Other situations that happen that sort of put you in a situation that then leads to your last hand. And when you lose jacks to queen 10 suited all in pre, it's like, yeah, you're going to lose that hand 30% of the time or whatever. It's like, it's just it feels bad, but it's generally the game is happening all around you all the time. So for sure, I like how you say it doesn't come down to that hand. What was your biggest achievement in the poker world? And I don't just talk about winning a tournament. From Pagmalion69.
Biggest achievement in the poker world. I think for me, getting signed is probably my biggest achievement. Getting recognized as a professional player by Party Poker, I would say is the biggest thing that's happened to me in poker. I mean, obviously I've had some big tournament scores, but if we're talking just in my career, this is the biggest deal for sure.
Awesome. I'd agree with the same for me. What was the craziest argument you have ever been involved in? Kind of a off the tangent question.
Craziest
Like, you have an argument? You ever with Jamie or someone else? Anything you can share that was memorable?
My biggest argument.
Like a travel, like Jamie saying, "Look, we got to go."
Okay. I'll just give something along. I used to, over time, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with being on camera. But like in the early days, I was less comfortable. I wanted to be in control. And Jamie was team vlog. Jamie had his daily vlogs going and he wanted to shoot everything. He wanted to create a story every day. And like, I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to be on the vlogs. Like I was just like, the vlog camera's out again. Like, shit, I don't want to be on this. But so I told him that. I'm like, man, like he's thought like do we have to do the vlogs like every day? And we had a huge argument over this. He's just like, why don't you want me to vlog? Like I'm doing this for the, for the house, for the thing. And we got into this huge argument over the vlogs. And like now it's whatever. Like I'm glad he vlogged and I got used to being on camera and stuff like that. But yeah, we had a huge argument about that. Like it's a big deal. So there's some background to you.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, for sure. That I can in the moment. Yeah, those type of things are. Everyone like. I think it's important too. Like everyone just really there's your side, their side, and then the real side, and it's usually somewhere in between each person's sides. But everyone really. It's good to step back and take a break and take a breath and look at what is happening in these spots because it is it can be emotional. I think that's true with poker too. A lot of times it's important after a result or something that happened to step back and look at everything, right? You just don't want to be so reactive because in the moment things can seem, you just feel one way, like it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way, and try to put yourself in the person's head. So.
I posted I post Twitch clips on Instagram and stuff, and I was watching over one of my clips last week where I got like so tilted in this bad beat, and I was just looking at myself like, what are you doing? Are you serious? You were this mad? Like you actually care this much? Like it was.
It's interesting though. I think in those moments, a lot of the times it's something else is going on. Maybe you had an argument with someone. Maybe you had to do something you didn't want to do. Maybe you got an email. And I think that's something about focus and mindset too, where when you're streaming, if you go in there and you got WhatsApp open and Discord and all this stuff and you're getting hit up everywhere. I mean, there's so many, like, I'm not going to make this up. Last Sunday. Yeah. So my number one pet peeve of like, just that annoys me is when people ask me for transfers on Sunday, like to swap money or do money or send money here for like a thing or, I asked you, I think for a friend of mine needed some money. Right. And I just like, cause I didn't have money on one of these sites and I just thought you might. So I sent, but like when someone asked me like mid session, cause I know they're playing right then and they need it, but when they come to me and I'm like, man, my stream going, the tables are up, everything's in motion. Then you have to like pull open the cashier, you got to register, do it. Like that is so annoying to me that when people ask me, like I literally will say, listen, please never ask me again, because then all of a sudden I think it can derail a session. If you get out of rhythm, your time banks go, something goes wrong, it can really unravel fast. So I think like being focused and just fully on task goes a long way. Like last Sunday, I made a choice. Like 2 people asked me, I just ignored them. I never do that. I just never not answer someone.
You don't ignore.
Yeah, I didn't even look. I saw it pop up on my WhatsApp and I just didn't even fucking open it. I just saw it. Hey, can you whatever? Just no, man. No. I mean, like, so yeah, I think that you gotta,
my stream is so busy these days. So like I have my binds and cashes live throughout the session. So every time I register a tournament now, I got to go to the lobby, find the tournament, click it, register. Then I got to add it on my calculator to make sure my buy-ins are correct. So I got to add up every single tournament I play. And then I got to go to my OBS when I add it and update it on my OBS and update the new total. And that doesn't sound like that much, but I
just got anxious. I'm picking my nails right now.
If you're multi-tabling on a Sunday, you got 6 tables and you got the chat, and you just bust 2 tables. You're like, okay, I got to register, got to add, got to update on OBS, got to follow the chat, got to play these hands. Like at the end of a 10-hour session, you're so tired of updating the buy-ins and cashes. Like it just becomes so much, dude. I don't know why.
Ghost of M's making a joke in there. No, Ghost of M is my rock. I know he's your lead moderator as well. So Ghost of M is probably he's and Adrian for me. I mean, if I didn't have those guys involved in my stream game and just in general, I don't have a stream. I'm gonna say it right there. But no, like not those messages. Those are important from like people requesting things, not money or a favor or this or that or trying to do stuff midstream. It's just very hard. So yeah, you can relate. And I don't want to.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
I don't want to take over. I wanted to ask you, when you get into a tilting situation on Twitch, do you find you're tilted about bad beats because of the bad beat itself, or that the stream is going to be less hype because you don't have like the chips and you don't have the run? Because for me, I find a lot of my tilt comes from the fact that a lot of stream hype is really just tied to tournament hype. And that's one of the problems with like Twitch poker, or not one of the problems, but one of the factors of Twitch poker is that if you have nothing going on, no deep runs, no stacks, nothing, you're at the whim of the cards, how hype your stream gets, unless you're just like an insanely talented person. But I don't know anyone who streams on Twitch that isn't at the whim of running well and running deep. So when I take a bad beat, it's just like, this is tilting because my stream is now not going to be as hype for the next 4 hours.
Yeah. When you're down to your last 2 or 3 screens and you lose your best one, it's the
exactly
deep. Now you got the hot, a $55 or $100 that's like an hour in, and you were just in a 500 with 2 tables or 3 tables left, and you lost a flip. I mean, that's a tough deal to push through. Exactly. So I think that's a good point as well. And also I think it's true that it's other stuff generally. I think that's true in life. Like with stuff, you see people overreact or someone freak out at a grocery store in line, or, I mean, they got something else has gone on, or it's not directly usually the exact thing that's happening, but for sure, I think it's interesting to notice. And, I think that's something that you learn to be as a streamer, you learn to deal with a lot. There is a lot going on. I mean, I look at it like air traffic control. I mean, you literally have a lot going on that's important, and 1 or 2 things if you let something get out of whack, you can really spiral your situation for the day. I mean, when I look at my worst streaming in days in Epic, there's like, usually I can go back and pinpoint a moment or something that went really wrong strip party caption, which is a great feature where you see all this stuff I've had meltdowns. I've had internet knockouts. I've had crazy situations where my party caption freezes. I can't click anything. I got to shut it all down. I come back in, and I'm just like, it's debatable to even keep streaming. Like
party caption has been a mess for sure.
Yeah, and so anyway, we can definitely relate on all that. What is your favorite thing about streaming, and what's your biggest challenge from Bot Lady? If you had to pinpoint one each.
Favorite thing about streaming, I don't know. I just like the swings. It's just so fun to have those big moments on Twitch, where you final table, you got a few thousand people watching. There's just like not a lot of feelings that can match up to that. It's just a lot of fun to have people. It's just a lot of fun to have people rooting for you when you're running deep into the tournament. Like have that many people on your team excited to run deep. So just like getting to experience the the highs, basically getting to experience the highs of streaming and running deep in poker tournaments at the same time. It's just a lot of fun. And I mean, having a community is obviously something that I find really unique. I mean, it's cool to be able to reach out to. It's cool to reach out to hundreds or thousands of people that are, kind of interested in your story, and they have their own stories. And the fact that people care at all is pretty awesome in itself. So I just like how unique it is. I like being a part of the community, and I just like the whole thing pretty much. So.
And what is your what's the biggest challenge, would you say, in streaming?
Biggest challenge when it comes to streaming. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. What would you say, Jeff?
I would say just organizationally, like being able to talk and outreach into doing different, sort of networking things or opportunities that come up, just being able to sort of maintain contact or find time to have those kind of dialogues. I think we've talked about this, me, Jamie, and almost like a manager type or someone that could help to organize other opportunities. I just find it a little stressful to do like the email stuff back and forth or deal with that other type of stuff. Because really, I just want to stream, right? I want to stream. I want to do podcasts. I want to do YouTube videos and like create stuff. So I think it's like all the other stuff that goes with it. That is the most frustrating.
Yeah, I think the toughest part is just going through downswings publicly or down ticks, having a boring stream, having way less viewers than you normally would, losing a lot of money and going through stressful sessions publicly live. I mean, it's the other side, right? You have the highs and the lows. Like there's tons of swings emotionally when it comes to streaming. So going through those lows is like challenging. And if you see, I've gone through periods where my stream doesn't grow at all for months, or it even gets smaller. Maybe there's somebody new in the game, or I don't have much interesting stuff going on. Like I've seen my stream get smaller over a month or over a month and a half, sub numbers getting smaller. So just being able to like see your channel decrease in size and like not have any good streams and still want to do it and still be motivated to do it, which is, it's standard. It comes with the territory, but it is the tough part of a job, I guess.
Yeah, it is. And I as well, like to relate on that. I mean, that's for sure. Like you mentioned, consistency, and that's something that I think is a blessing and a curse. But you've seen some of the top streamers either burn out or move out of their way, whether burn out publicly or just sort of you see them stream less or for whatever reasons it might be. I think that's something that having a schedule, being consistent, is very powerful. And for myself in particular, I can just touch on that and say, I think part of the reason I love it so much is that I haven't been so consistent in terms of, schedule weekly, but I also had a baby this year, a move, a bunch of different things have happened, not making excuses, but it is nice to really love it and want to be there. And I think burnout is like a real thing to defend against and to be aware of, that you don't, it's important. You don't want to, you could stream every day. You could, you're there, you live in a country where you can stream from, you're at home, you could flick on, but also for like mental sanity and health and balance, it's like, it's probably not GTO too. So you're probably always playing with that formula.
Yeah. It's a tough balance. It's hard to take days off sometimes as well. On the other side, like you'll see some days where the listing is dead. There's nobody online. You're like, wow, I streamed 6 days in a row. I'm burnt out. I need an off day, but nobody's online. Should I go online and stream? It's hard to shut your mind off from the listing sometimes, but
for sure. I'm going to skip a couple of these because we did talk about long-term. We talked about goals in poker and just sort of in general. How many hours a week do you put in studying the game? And what do you think is the best content? This is a layup, but.
I study not much, maybe 3 to 4 hours a week, a few hours on my off days, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. I don't know. That's been enough for me at this point in the balance. And I use Razor Edge. It's a tournament training course. It covers everything. They have a few different courses. They have a mindset course, cash game course, tournament course, bounty course, and they keep updating it. It's high level content. So that's what I've used, and I do recommend it to everyone.
What do you think out of those courses? What's been the most beneficial, or the one that you thought was the most concise, that you felt like, wow, this triggered something for me?
The tournament masterclass expert course is the first course that I did, and that was like mind blowing. That there was so many new concepts that was my first training material I'd ever done, and there were so many new concepts to me that it gave me stuff to work on for a long time, and it made me a much better player. So that was like the most mind-blowing and most impactful thing for me. That was like, okay, high-level tournament strategy. I went from being a low-stakes player with ABC strategy to actually having high-level strategies. So that was huge. But I think the thing that gave me the most edge is the bounty course. There's so many, like, bounty tournaments are everywhere. Like, I would say most of the tournaments I play are bounty tournaments. Like
Right.
the vast majority. And people aren't studying bounties, and people don't understand bounties. They really don't. Like, even I don't, right? But I'm starting to learn a lot better.
Right.
You know, calling
You at least have
multi-whale
an
wins.
idea. Like I'll be honest too. I've gone through the course. I've scrolled through. I look at the sections. I haven't watched every second of the bounty course, but it's interesting. And when you see people do really crazy stuff, you're like, wow, that looks so terrible. Like there's a decent chance that they're actually doing the right thing or are doing it for a reason. So it's at least good to be aware.
I've done so many crazy things on stream this week after the bounty course. Like I've done things that you can't even believe it. Like it, and I think that's like one of the biggest edges that can be gained right now is in bounty tournaments, because there's just like any two, there's spots where you have to get it in for 40 blinds, 3 ways with 6-9, like snap, like not close, like not close. And it's those spots can't intuitively be recognized because you're so used to playing normal tournaments.
Right.
You can't understand that hand performs well enough multi-way all in. And there's just endless spots like that. So I think the bounty course for me has been the biggest deal lately, at least.
For sure. I'd agree with that as well. Do you think that you would be able to play high stakes live tournaments or cash games? And this guy's saying, not from disrespectful manner, just want to know if that is where you see yourself in the future. 50 cent to $5, 55 to 530, 5200, or Triton. So is that something like, does that interest you to go play on Poker After Dark? Like in 3-5 years, would you like be happy to go sit and play a live cash game? Is that something that would be fun for you?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I can get my live game to a point where I can comfortably go play in these games. Like if I can somehow transfer my online strategy and online comfortability to a live table at some point, I'd love to play in those games. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, like I say, like Twitch is my baby. So hopefully I see myself on Twitch in the future as well.
Absolutely. Do you think a Twitch championship between pros would be an event to watch? Like, do you see a format where
I saw this question? Of course, it'd be the best. Yeah, get everyone from every stream, get them to play the same tournament, and it'd be amazing content, I think. What do you think, Jeff?
Interesting. I guess it would like depend. The way to do it, I could see it really just thinking about this for the first time, to have a round robin, like get like 5 sites, every 4 or 6 or whatever, right? And have, I would have to, there would be some regulation on what would be acceptable or what would do it. But let's just take the obvious ones, Party Poker and Poker Stars. You could throw in some of these other sites as well. I mean, that would be interesting. I guess it makes the most sense because we have the most streamers. So that would be, but like to do like a format where we each play on each site, where there's like we do a tournament. Even you can even open it up to like the Twitch community, or do something where it's like we compete, and it's like who does the best point totals on each Sunday.
I think it has to just be plain streamer versus streamer, like all the biggest streamers. I don't know what the cap would be in terms of like viewers.
Which platform do you do it on then, or how is it done? Like how do they flip for it? Is it we do it 1 week this, 4 times a year?
I don't want to, just since it's just a fun question, I'm not going to go into the details too much, but I think, like every Twitch viewer has like their favorite guy. And like seeing their guy against the other guy that they watch sometimes, or like community against community, like there'd be so much pride involved in like seeing your streamer win a pot against another streamer. You know what I mean? I just think it'd be a huge deal on Twitch. But yeah, you're right. The setup of doing it
in poker like that, because it is so pride. There's so much pride and whatever. But like the cool thing about poker is you can the reason it sort of works and why people can, because like oftentimes it's a flip or a 60-40 or you lose with the best hand. So it's like kind of funny because someone wins, but then the other guy maybe got outplayed. So it's like you could say, oh, I got unlucky, or I lost with the best hand. The other guy gets to say, well, I won. So it's sort of like, it's rare that someone just gets like totally beasted in poker, like where there's like no, which is why I think it's so great with the luck and combination of skill and luck. But we'll talk about that more. But I like it. Yeah, I think that's a great question and something to really consider. Don't know how it would be done. What do you think about extending the length of every fourth break to 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or to do something differently in breaks? Are you happy with the 5-minute every hour break? Is that sufficient for you, or do you feel there could be a more optimal break pattern for tournaments?
Yeah, I don't know how popular this answer is going to be, but I think they're fine. I mean, I've managed to, like, as a streamer, like, it's a lot tougher to take breaks as a streamer, right? Because you got to, like, send it over to a highlight video, or you got to, like, talk to the chat, and whatever. You got to set things up, and I've managed to not really have any problems with breaks ever as a streamer. So having even more time as a non-streamer, I don't know. I just can't imagine how you'd need
Right,
that
because
much
even
more
as a
time.
non-streamer too, you can pull up. You have a pizza, you got your drink there, use or whatever. You take
Playing on a laptop, you can bring it to the kitchen. I mean, so I don't know. I haven't really thought about this much. Like, maybe people could bring up some arguments to me why it's important to have, like, maybe a slightly longer break. I mean, if you do think about having a 5-minute break once an hour over 12 hours, like, it is kind of insane that you're not going to give yourself like 20 minutes at any point to just relax and refocus. But, like, I just think it I don't know. Yeah. So I think they're fine. What do you think?
Yeah, I remember when this was brought up. I remember when there were no breaks. So this is probably before you ever streamed or played, because I remember when there was no breaks. And looking back on it, it's insane, right?
Wait, there was no breaks?
Yeah, this happened in 2009 or 10, because I remember crazy. Where I was, and I remember, like, wow, this is amazing. And I just remember beforehand there was just never a break, which is like, and then it was on, like, Full Tilt or Poker Stars at the time, and then you saw the other sites sort of implement it. So it wasn't like everyone did it, and then I just sort of across the board became like, all right, every hour, 5 minutes. So I don't know who gets credit for the idea, but it's so simple and it makes so much sense, but it was never done before. And I don't remember what I did beforehand. I think I can't remember, actually, because I played on a PC for Sundays. I actually don't know now what I did.
It'd be interesting, like, if they made it 7 minutes, it'd be interesting to see how that feels. Or if they made it 4 minutes, like, I feel like 5 minutes, I'm often just getting back in time if I have something to do. Like, I, like, barely make it, or I have like 30 seconds left on break. So it feels like a pretty good amount of time. But I don't know, maybe if I had 4-minute breaks, it would be the same. I just learned to take less time.
I think it's important to consider what that means, because, like, in theory, if they said, oh, let's have a dinner break or 15 or 20 minutes, like, for once a day, but you got to remember you're playing with people on the East Coast, West Coast, UK. And also, it's like, at some point the UK are going to bed at 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. if you're deep in tournaments. And they're not really, like, you add in 2 minutes or 1 minute every break. It does add a lot. It adds a fair amount of time. Now, I think 6 minutes.
It could be somebody's first hour of the day as well, right?
So it's tricky. I think it's not so clear cut, but yeah, it's really interesting. Someone asking, would you prefer a 10-minute instead of usual 5 minutes every hour? So, like, 10 every 2 hours. It would help personally in MTTs, but I'm actually trained, like, where I have to use the restroom every hour now. Like, it happens off stream too. Like, I'll take a piss like every hour almost. What? There's times when I'm streaming for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, like, I'll have to go to the restroom, and I drink a lot of water. I got the double action going here, coffee and water. So I'm drinking fluids, but yeah, I mean, I have to, it's like I'm programmed to, I've heard other people say this as well, 2 hours, like live poker during the World Series, like every 2 hours you're using the restroom, and it's like, you got to use it. But I don't know. I like how it is. I would even add 1 minute. I think it would help, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's reasonably good where it is as well.
How much is fish? I don't know what that means. Maybe a translation issue. What shampoo do you use and why? I'm not so interested about why, but a shampoo question. That's a first. So give us the
I use some cheap 2-in-1. I've never thought about my shampoo. I don't take care of my hair very well. I wash my hair regularly. It's clean. It never gets grease or anything, but I don't have any special shampoo.
Matt, you kind of see, you're still learning. That's a good endorsement opportunity. You got the locks, you got the flow. You could have plugged one there, but Matt's clean, man. He's not out there he's not giving free stuff away. He's not going to give away his.
No, bro, I'm not going to say any brand names.
I like it. I also have a brother almost the same age. The competition is always terrible. Who is the best poker player? Who's a better poker player, you or Jamie? This is about as controversial a question you'll ever see on the podcast here.
Who knows? Who knows? This is what I think. I always avoid this question because I don't like pinning us against each other, because people love.
It came up. I actually didn't see it beforehand. I might have avoided.
I don't know. People love to take a side. That's the thing. People love to take a side, but the truth is, I don't know who's better at poker. I really think our games are pretty close. I mean, we're playing the same stakes. You know, we both have good results in some of these tournaments. I think they're pretty close. I'm assuming there's parts of Jamie's game that are cleaner and more solid, and I think there's probably parts of my game that are cleaner and solid. That's what I think. So I'm going to take the political answer, and I'll say they're pretty much the same.
And so as a hybrid, you guys you could be the greatest of all time then. If you hybrided the two, because then.
What are you talking about?
I like it. All right. We'll put that down. Let's clip that. Statement Brothers #1 in the world together, but so divided, we're not sure who's better. I like that answer. Hey Matt, how did you get good at No Limit Hold'em tournament so fast?
Studying, raise your edge, and streaming. I think the streaming part is definitely underrated. Like, being a streamer just forces you to always work on your game, and it also forces you to talk about your decision making, which just helps a lot. And then raise your edge, which we talked about. The training course was huge.
For sure. Guys, if you are interested in that, Matt has a code for that as well as myself, so you can choose one or another one. There's a lot of information on Raise Your Edge, and it's expensive. It is. So
it is, yeah.
Check it out. And there is free content. They do a lot of stuff on YouTube and other places, but I highly recommend it as well. It's got my endorsement, and there is available discounts. So check that out. If you're going to go that route, you should.
There's lots of great free content coming out right now. Like,
sure.
tons of free content.
A lot of people, I would not, if you're a beginner, I mean,
yeah,
I would take your time and look at it and check out what you can get before diving down that path. And Melon Reno, Melinda Smith-Ka, I don't know if she's live in the chat right now, but she went ahead and gave Ice a little, tell your, I don't want your girl to get too, you see it, your eyes popped out.
Does that say Thorjeans?
Yes, wow. When are you going to find a classy gal and start sewing those Thorjeans around? Melon Reno.
Shout out to Melinda.
Let's keep this. This is a PG production. What's happening? So to answer that, you do have a relationship of about a year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not about, like, probably half a year, seriously, like dating.
Okay.
But I'm very happy in my relationship. I don't know what does Melinda want me to say right now. What does she want me to say about the Thorjeans?
This is this might have to be handled later.
I think a lot of people, they never heard about my relationship life because I didn't have a relationship life. People assumed I was single forever. I keep the relationship kind of on the down low, on the wraps, but yeah, things are really good. I'm happy to be in a relationship.
All right, we'll keep it at that. Would you rather play heads up for 10K, JG, or your brother? Here's another sort of guys looking, Matt and Bernsey looking to stir the pot, looking for controversy, little question. So,
I'd rather play Jeff. I'd rather play you heads up for 10K. Yep.
All right, there you go.
That's facts.
Let's do it. Do you plan to play the World Series next year?
Small chance. I'd give it 20%. 20% chance, yeah. Okay,
and Bernsey, just to be clear, I think it's probably because hopefully it means that he it's a brother for 10K. That's emotional. I don't know. I don't know if he's, but I like heads up. I'd be willing to play some heads ups.
Jeff, are you trying to challenge me to 10K because of this tweet here?
No, I'm not.
That's ridiculous.
I don't want what Bernsey wants. He wants to drive competition and craziness. I'm not looking to play.
I feel like Jeff is the right answer. Put you on your toes right now.
I like that. What was your favorite place to play poker from out of all the trips and travel destinations, whatever that means to you? If you could go back again in the world and your stops, where would you like to play?
Play poker. I mean, I only played live poker. Played in Panama. Played in the UK. I played once in Austria.
Which house or setup, like where you were like,
okay,
that was fun. Like where I was in Costa Rica and it was beautiful weather and I would do whatever. Like what? Which was your favorite?
I'd say Croatia. I'd do anything to go back and live there. I love Croatia so much. That was a very fun house. Cool place to play poker in. So I'd say Croatia.
Cool. That's on my top of my list. I haven't been to.
You been? No.
No. Got to go check
It's
Rager out
amazing.
over there. Keep an eye on him. How many poker books have you read? Pick one of the best ones from MTT players. I mean, I guess you're like newer school. You've done the Raise Your Edge course. There's a lot of content online and streams and such. Were you reading poker books or not? Didn't really get into books before you started because there was already so much content online.
Yeah, no, I never read a poker book. Can't really recommend any. Yeah, all online content. Twitch. That's how I learned. Twitch.
Like it. Any plan of start playing live MTTs? We've covered that. Your favorite place to poker from, went over, just did that. What do you expect from your life in the future? What do you think about the prospects of poker for the next 5 to 10 years?
Twitch. I mean, I do want to branch out a little bit. Do some more live poker opportunities. Maybe play more live poker than online. There's only so long you can stream for and be in front of a computer. But, I mean, in the next 5 years, Twitch heavy. It's not going to change for me until hopefully I'm number one streamer at some point. The goals are the same, and the poker industry in 5 to 10 years, I'm not really sure where we're going to be at. There's so many things that can change. So,
yeah. What was your play to study ratio for low stakes, and how has that changed since progressing to the higher stakes?
My study ratio in the beginning was 100% play, 0% study. Didn't study at all. And I mean, even still now, I mean, I stream, let's say on average 6 hours, like 5 days a week, and I study only a few hours a week, like 4 or 5. So I mean, the play to study ratio is huge in terms of play. I recommend people take more of a study ratio, especially if you're not streaming. But yeah, I'm very heavily in the play sector.
Right. Yeah, that makes, I can relate with that. I asked you your breaking point when you felt you could be a professional player. Just maybe elaborate a little bit more on that. Was there an actual day or moment when you did? We talk about you had some big scores, some changing stuff, but when did you say, you know what, this is for sure what I'm doing? Does the day stand out? A date, a specific stream? You kind of hinted that it was one of your first streams of poker when it was like someone hosted you. You had 200 viewers. All of a sudden, you were Poker Staples, PA, playing other games or League of Legends, and now you put a little poker on and people came. What about that? Was that? I mean, other than that, like that moment, you might have said, "Wow, this is really cool." But when did you say, "I'm going to be a professional poker player"?
I think after I had my first big score, it was for $16,000 in like a 215 high stakes. I wasn't really playing high stakes at the time, so this was like a shot take for me. Like I maybe played 109s, but not really any 215s. And I won this 215 outright for 16,000. I was like, whoa. Okay, we can actually compete at the high stakes and win money at the high stakes. I was like, okay, that's when I, like, in my head, I was like, all right, let's go for this. Like we can compete, we can make money, we can stream. So I'd say since then, that was the turning point.
Okay. And yeah, that's a nice significant uptick. How long do you see yourself streaming for? Do you have a plan? Like, do you in your mind, do you see yourself at 30 years old streaming poker, or maybe the next thing, whatever it is? Is this something you literally, can you see yourself streaming into till not sure what next? Have you even thought about that? Like for me, it sounds weird to say I'd be streaming at 40 years old, but at the same time, I find myself not paying attention to age and stuff really, or whatever. But obviously life happens, family happens, kids happen, different responsibilities and situations happen. But how do you feel on that? Do you see yourself at 30? Is that something you Matty Ice is 30 years old and streaming? 7 years?
I mean, it could be done. Lots of 30-year-olds stream. It could be done for sure. I don't know. So many questions about my future. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? 7 years.
People want to know. They want to.
Who knows where
you got that? They want to know, man.
I don't know where Twitch poker is going to be in 7 years. I don't know where the poker industry is going to be in 7 years. It's too hard to tell. I want to be involved for sure. The plan is to be involved still when I'm 30. I'm not trying to retire when I'm 30, right? So the plan is to be involved. I can't say for sure if I'm still going to be wanting to stream. Like streaming is a pretty heavy grind. You've seen a lot of people move on from streaming that were streaming full time. Jay Carver, Tonka, Doug, Kevin, right? There's a lot of people that do move on from it. So I don't want to say for sure that I'm not going to want to do something else, but the plan is to keep doing it. Yeah.
Who are your role models in poker and streaming?
Um, you know, Jamie is obviously a big one. He's the one who got me into the stream game. I think seeing where Lex is pretty insane. To see how far ahead Lex is. Sometimes, like on Sunday, he'll have 20,000 if he's doing well in something, and then the next person has like 1,500. It's like that gap is so insane. So I mean, I guess that's really the target to shoot for, right? It's that's how big a poker stream could get on Twitch. So I look at that. I don't have too many role models in terms of Twitch, but those are two small points I'd bring up.
For sure. No, I mean it does show the category. Jason's had it, Tonka's had huge numbers, Jamie at different times, consistent big numbers, and yeah, things happen. People change, motives change, drive changes. So there's always, I think it is one of those things too. If you just kind of put your head down and you want to do something, it's true. It's, that the ceiling is there. You see what's possible, and the category is strong enough, I think, to allow for that. And who knows what else, right? Like who knows with crossovers and future stuff that happens. Also legalization in the US. Like we're talking about, the US is a primary market for poker that is basically untapped. If the doors open in US poker and party poker and stars and these sites are in the US again, I mean, there would be a huge boom.
That'd be huge. That would be insanely huge.
PA's opening right now. It's not crazy, right? Like it's not like a super crazy scenario. 2 to 3 years from now, what's going to happen?
I mean,
legal
blow up. I got into poker, post Black Friday, obviously. So I've never existed in the poker world when the US could participate. So that would be insane for sure.
Right. Man, we're getting, all right. I did want to try to cover lives. We're going to do a few more because we're still going. Did we hit the greatest achievement to date away from the felt? I mean, I guess we talked party poker ambassadorship, but that's sort of connected. Do you have something outside of that you're proud of, or something that you've done in your life that's like, that you're really like was amazing, or you want to talk about any other hobbies or things you did growing up, or?
Pretty much all my achievements have been, from Twitch. I kind of went straight from high school, middle school to Twitch. That was kind of my run. So the ultimate sweat would be the obvious one. Managing to accomplish that goal and keep my fitness in check, and like pretty much, I got pretty much down to 10% for the second bet as well. So, I'm pretty proud of the prop bet, of course, be my other biggest achievement.
For sure. You started poker being Jamie's brother. You were Poker Staples PA even on, which is his name on Twitch. That was your name. At what point the question is about, now you are known by your name. When do you think this transition happened? And also I want to ask you, when did you decide that you was that something for a while you had Poker Staples PA and you wanted to change it because you were sort of like, all right, that was funny. It was like a thing I started, now I'm my own person. Or now I want to do my own thing, and then it took a while to change? Or was it like one day you woke up, you're just like, no, I want to be Matt Staples? Like, when did that change? And also, when do you think you got known kind of as your own person, if you will, if you even feel that's true?
Yeah, I think it's true I think at this point it's true for most people. I do think, I mean, for a certain part of the community, I'm always going to be associated with Jamie, which is fine. It's good. I mean, I'm happy to be associated with Jamie. Especially with how I came up in the game and stuff like that. So I don't mind the association, but I do think there's definitely a very clear difference in our communities now. And I think people know me from my achievements, in poker and running the Bankroll up and streaming now. So I do think there's a big difference that maybe came in the last year and a half, about a year and a half ago. I think the separation really became clear. The Poker Staples PA name, I streamed with that name for a while, and I did want to change it, but I was a little bit worried about, getting rid of the brand, essentially, right? I'd built everything up on Poker Staples PA, and I knew I wanted to change it for the long term, but I was just like, this initial hit, like, will people still watch? Will people like get lost? Will they lose my channel? Stuff like that. So it took a little bit of time to do just because I was worried about that, but yeah, I definitely did want to, get my own name going.
For sure. Alch 514, our buddy Alch over there from Montreal Streamhouse. Do you miss the $5 paninis?
I miss shawarma, Montreal.
Yeah,
Boustans.
Boustans. That is a great shout out to Boustans. They get it done. That
Can't
is not
wait.
lose weight.
I can't wait to go back to Montreal.
When are you going? You gonna go for any time soon? They got
I don't know what's coming up.
They got a 3,300, 3,500, 3,300 WPT main the end of October. Could be the move.
You going? Are you going?
I've not missed one in a long time, but I'm going to the UK this weekend for that 3,300 day 3, which qualified online, which I'm excited about. But I don't know, man. It's hard. 5-month-old baby. Those short trips are tough on traveling with. So I'm trying to do less travel, but Montreal's strong. I don't know. Maybe I'll bring the family up. It's cold though there too. In that
Very
time.
cold. I got snow here, Jeff. I don't know if you know.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I got snow. A ton of snow. Yeah.
A ton of snow. What day is it? It's
October 1st. I mean, it's October 1st.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right. I did not know that. That's scary. How has the game changed since you started playing streaming, and where do you think it will be in 5 years? Are we going to see Hold'em take a back seat? Other game types? Do you like PLO? Do you play any other games at all, or do you just?
I play a little bit of PLO. Yeah, PLO is fun. I mean, there's too much to focus on in Hold'em to take any other game like too seriously for me. But yeah, I play a little bit of PLO.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think Hold'em's going to stand strong? Do you think short deck, any of that stuff's going to take over? Is there anything in that? Do you forget that what game specifically? Do you feel that Hold'em's going to hold strong for 5 years, or do you think there could be a different variation of poker that?
Let me ask you this: has there been a game in the past that was way bigger than Hold'em? No Limit Hold'em, like I guess Limit Hold'em, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if No Limit Hold'em, I think started like really booming around 2000. So it's been a long time though.
Yeah, that's a long time on top. I don't know. Maybe I think it'd be a little bit short-sighted to say that it's not possible that another game could come over top. But I feel like Hold'em is going to remain strong, and I don't think that's a problem either. I think it's fine that Hold'em's the biggest game.
Yeah, I just I don't see them making the World Series of Poker main event something different, right? Like I don't. I mean, that's going to be, I think that'll be the standard, but maybe, yeah, PLO, people thought for a while that I heard talks like that was going to take over, but that didn't quite happen. It's still pretty popular. It's also for a tournament poker, that no limit aspect, any moment you can be all in, or it makes it very exciting. All right, well, Matt, I think we've covered a ton of questions. We got the majority of them, guys. Matt is definitely someone that we could see on future podcast. Would love to have him back. There's a lot to talk about, and his career path is definitely, super exciting. He's young, he's hungry, he's motivated, he's humble, he's got all the moves. You even see Melon Reno mentioning his Thor genes. He's got a lot going on. There's things happening out there.
That was out of line.
Yeah, she really, really showed her hand there on where her head's at. But that's okay. Melon Reno, great supporter, State Kings fan as well. Buys a lot of action. Are you posting any action on State Kings recently? Have you been? I know you have in the past. Do you have any?
A few times in the past. I haven't been selling any action to anything.
Give the fans a taste. Come on, Matt. Let's go, bro.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. People do want a piece. They do.
They do. Let's get them what they want. And speaking of what they want, we are going to copy. Give Matt a follow. Instagram, Twitter. We see Matt Staples across the board. Twitch as well. Just over 65,000 followers. Shows the strength of what he is doing and his abilities. On there, give him a follow on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. Where else, Matt? What else is that? That's
perfect. Yeah, YouTube. I just released a new YouTube video.
Oh,
Matthew Staples.
Well, I'm going to put that. We're going to put that up on the screen here in a second before we go. But for the meantime, I'm going to have you give away this $55 ticket. Thank you to everyone who participated. And again, this will be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all across the board, Podbean, anywhere you want to see it. A lot of people like to listen, not necessarily watch, and if from their phone in their car. Appreciate the support. And Matt, we're going to let you give the draw. $55 party poker ticket coming to someone's way. You tell me when.
All right, sounds good. When?
Boom. Someone just won a $55 Twitter ticket. Frango Rhino. What a name.
GG Frango.
That, you know this person?
Nope.
No?
No.
Oh, actually, it looks
Twitch.
fun. Yeah, Twitch. And they don't follow us though. That was that was a tough beat for everyone.
Does that work?
Do
they need to be following?
I don't know. I think that's what we would. That's. I believe it's in the directions. It's also I mean, it must be following you, because like, how else is he knowing about it and tweeting it? I mean, I want to give it. You can unfollow me, but to be eligible, you just got to be able to get DM, because I can't be tweeting out to people winning tickets. It's just not gonna, doesn't work like that. The problem is, so they changed this now, and I don't think I can do. You can't do another. I don't think you can do 2 winners. There's always it's tricky out there. Let me see. Maybe I can reload it. Oh, no, this is looks like they have an application. I don't know. I'm gonna make a judgment call on that. I have to think about that, and then I may just reroll. It's only 1 per day. That's the problem. I can't even hit reroll.
Okay.
They only let you pick 1. I think they're driving you to subscription for the tweet draws. I'm not sure if I do a lot of crazy spending. I don't know if I want to have to spend to give away tickets. It feels like somewhere I got to draw a line. But maybe there's another scenario. Either way, guys, someone's going to get that ticket, either Frank or Rhino. He's got a nice little deal there too, man. I don't know if you caught that on the screen. He's got his own logo. It looks pretty serious. Maybe if he follows you, I might make an exception for it. But either way, we'll get someone that $55 ticket. And I really do appreciate some shout outs. Q Bonds in there. We see Santiago Hernandez in the chat. Dennis Rowland, Ghost of M. Any shout outs out there? Family, mama, is parents watching? They watch your pods?
I don't know if they're in here. Who knows?
Okay, they might catch it on the way out.
They'll definitely watch it.
They'll take a look. So shout out to all the Staples family, Mama Staples rocking gear, always showing support. God, I respect that. Really appreciate it, Matt, for the time. And again, guys, check him out on Twitch. Check him out. He is on a journey, a poker journey, life journey, and we will be in touch as always. Pleasure to chat, man. We'll have you back, and thanks again. I'll see you maybe in Montreal, if not before.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it, man.
Everybody, the legend of the game, 23 years young, doing his thing. We'll catch up with him later, and thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next podcast.
See you.